All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. Today, we are coming to you live from the PhD Speed Gaming event in Chicago, bringing you all the awesome board game and tabletop game coverage. And as usual, I'm Matt, and right now I am joined with Stephen from Paizo. How you doing today, Stephen?
Great, Matt. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. So I'm going to have a few questions as we go along, but what's going on in Paizo right now?
Well, what's going on with Paizo? Our big event is we're about to unleash the Pathfinder Playtest in the lead up for our second edition.
Okay.
And that's coming out at Gen Con this year. We're going to unleash the game to the public, free PDF. We've also got some 3 options: a softbound, a hardbound, and a special edition hardbound for people who want the book, but that's not necessary to playtest the game. Also, an adventure called Doomsday Dawn.
Okay.
That is there for you guys to play. We're going to have specific questions about that. Each chapter helps us test a different part of the game. And hopefully it'll be a lot of fun too. I wrote a chapter of that as well, so I hope you guys like my chapter. So,
make sure you tell us which one it is, and we'll give you the good review.
Oh, it's called Red Flags.
There we go.
It's the second to the last chapter. I think it's a lot of fun. Mileage may vary.
So talk to me a little bit about what differences we could expect to see with what's rolling out now for Pathfinder.
Well, I mean, the main our main goal with the game from the beginning is not change sort of the feel of the game, the sort of the mouthfeel of the game. We wanted it to feel like Pathfinder. We didn't want the story to change. People like our story. We want to continue on with that story. But we did kind of pull out the back wires. We did a lot of changes to the math and the progression. We did some pretty drastic changes to the action economy, where in trying to streamline a lot of that. So people who love Pathfinder will find it easier to love Pathfinder, and people who have not experienced Pathfinder will find it a little bit easier to get in at the ground level, learn how to play the game, and then figure out what the rest of our fans already know is we're really here to create good gameplay and great stories.
Very cool. So yeah, I know that was a little bit of commentary running on Pathfinder before. While it's a fantastic game with like a lot of depth to it, is that sometimes it got a little cumbersome in some places. So I see that's being addressed very nicely with what you're saying now in terms of streamlining a lot of the elements of it to make it a lot more approachable for newbies, and then easier to digest for people that are already huge fans of it.
Right. At the same time, like a lot of people hear streamline and they sort of think of simplification. It's not that. One of the things that we love about our game is it's got robust character options. Those are going to be there. I like to think they're just a little bit easier to grok and use. But if you're really into figuring out where exploits and interesting character development in the game is, I think you're going to like the Pathfinder Second Edition as well, because we're basically on that balance of make it accessible, but make it robust.
Okay. So what's some of your favorite aspects of what's changed? Some things that you really latch onto and that really shines to you that you think are real selling points on it, aside from the streamlined aspects?
Well, I'm a little bit biased because I've been working with what I call the 3-act economy for a long period of time. I wrote a thing in Pathfinder Unchained for the first edition that was sort of the precursor to the action economy we're playing with. I fooled around with it in other games. It was kind of an epiphany to me that an action is just a unit of time. And so instead of having the weighted actions that a lot of role-playing games have that they picked up from sort of wargaming, it's like you want to do something, great. It's just an action. You want to cast a spell, great. Sometimes that's more than one action. You want to open a door, great, that's an action. You want to pick up something, it's an action. You want to hit somebody, it's an action. And so just that sort of streamlining allows us to make the game simpler to grok from the go, but it also gives us a lot of depth of design. Because instead of putting things in small little bundles and packets and everything else and wondering and worrying, is this the right weight for it? We can just go, well, we know what the weight is. Now just come up with the interesting thing to put into it.
Gotcha. So taking out some of the more bookkeeping elements style like that, and just keeping it, let's get the story progressing forward and having fun playing the game.
Exactly.
So, what are you looking to get out of the Pathfinder playtest at Gen Con moving forward?
Well, I mean, anytime you do a play test, a designer, to their best intentions, will think something's great and then throw it out to the audience, and they will tell us they're wrong, and even better yet, they'll tell us we're wrong and why. Some balance is always an interesting issue, and so if somebody, when you have 5 people, or 4 people, which it started with this game, and then it expanded out to the rest of sort of the Paizo staff, and which makes it 20 to 30 to 40 people. You'll find problems, but when you throw that out to hundreds and thousands of people, they can really sort of stress test this thing, sit there and tell us not only where they thought we went wrong and why, but also just what they didn't like and what they did. And we can capitalize on what they liked and throw out what they didn't.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that the staff at Paizo is, while 40, like a number of 40 people is pretty decent representation there's so many different, things that people like and how they gravitate towards things, and even just different play styles all around, that tossing it out to the rabid masses there is going to allow you to kind of see all the different takes on the game and how people are digesting it.
One of the things, and I've worked in the industry for a while, that I love to do is design games that people like to live in. Not just play every once in a while, even though you can do that with Pathfinder, but just latch onto and say, this is the game that I want to play for a good long time. And Pathfinder, has had a good 10-year run of that. And over those 10 years, we've learned a lot about our own game system and what our fans, both real and potential, like. And we're just trying to give them more of that and cut out a lot of the nonsense.
Sounds good. I know that a lot of people, there's obviously a rabid fan base for Pathfinder. A lot of people love it. So getting all of this valuable information back from the fans during the playtest, how do you go about filtering through that and then incorporating that into the game and kind of using that to build the engine of Pathfinder version 2 and then making it bigger, better, more awesome?
Well, a lot of it has to do with sleepless nights and heartache, and that's not only going through our own message boards and seeing what fans are saying, but actually going into other message boards as well, which we'll sit there and do. Of course, with this one, we're going to be a little bit more scientific about, especially certain aspects of the game. That's why we created the Playtest Adventure. We're going to have a series of surveys. We're going to have some general surveys too, to sort of get a mouthfeel, so we can take a look and ask specific questions and get specific answers, and then tally those answers over time and have a little bit more of a scientific approach. So we're going to do a lot of that, and of course the sleep deprivation, heartbreaking part of it too, of reading a lot of message boards.
So let me get this right. You're using math to try and eliminate some of the erroneous math from the game. Yeah,
we think that's a good route to go.
You're just doing it on the other side of it.
In a year, whether or not it was a good route to go. But yeah, I'm very confident that. I mean, our fan base has always been fantastic at sharing their opinion with us. Sometimes it bruises us. We are human beings. We can have our egos bruised and everything else.
We're all allowed to have feelings here.
Oh, right. But I have learned over time that I can make the game that I want, but that's not going to please the great mass of the Pathfinder fan base, and that's who we really want to create this game for.
Absolutely, and having such a loyal, vocal fan base is
Fantastic.
Just an amazing asset that helps you not only make these better games, but refine them and hone the edge of them and make them into something great to fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so is there anything else that you wanted to talk to us about from Paizo regarding the upcoming Pathfinder playtest?
Not really the Pathfinder playtest, but I will share something that's going to come out around the same time that's near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Is not only do I work on the core rulebook line and the new Pathfinder playtest and did a lot for Starfinder, but I'm also the guy who designs, although does not make pretty, that's Jason Engel, the various map products. I've been talking about math too much, including flip mats, and we're coming out with a new tile product called Flip Tiles at about the same time. The dungeon set is going to come out, and these are double-sided tiles that are very modular and will fit together really well, so people can create the dungeons and then later the forests and then later the cities that they want to do. So I'm very excited about that project.
So the people that are more visually oriented when they're playing these RPGs versus the full vocal crowd.
Right. So, and then we're going to be using a lot of those to sort of piece together maps, and we've got like an alphanumeric code on each one, so we can give you a list of these are the tiles that we use, and you can make your maps if you're running Pathfinder Society or another adventure.
Make the life of the GM pretty easy there.
We try to do that whenever possible.
Okay, so chat has a few questions, and I'll relay them back audio-wise. Josh is going to feed them to me now.
So one of our viewers said, I absolutely love Pathfinder. The modules are great. Is there a chance the adventure paths could all be written by the same person or a small team by the later modules and the APs? It gets disconnected and weird.
It does. So as a guy, I've written one adventure path for Pathfinder and one for Starfinder that just recently came out, and I can tell you that those things are hard to write, and mostly at the rate that we end up doing it. If somebody came up to me and said, Stephen, we want you to write 6 in a row, I'd probably throw myself off a cliff. The big thing about it is we having one come out every month at that kind of speed. You'd have to be Owen K. Stevens or Rob Schwab or somebody else who's just a monster at writing things that quickly in order to do it. And even by the end of it, I think we might read an obituary.
Curious how the rapid rise of RPG streaming has influenced the new edition of Pathfinder.
It's interesting. We've got the Glass Cannon podcast that does that, and I don't. Strangely enough, my girlfriend works for Penny Arcade, and I'm terribly behind the times on that thing. So in my point of view, I think there's a lot more work that can be done. I know we have a Twitch stream that our guy Dan Tharp is doing some great stuff on. We've been talking about we want to run Pathfinder playtest games on streaming things with members of the staff, but I am old and woefully behind the times on that.
All right, so I think that's it from Chatland over there. Anything else from Paizo Bruin, or anything else you want to share with us today?
No, other than the big thing that I'm running here and I'm very excited about is please go out and download the playtest, even if you don't want to buy it. Play it. Tell us what you think. We're very interested in hearing your opinion on it, good, bad, or indifferent. That's where my focus is.
So this is your opportunity to get your voice heard by the Paizo crew in terms of the new edition of Pathfinder, and I think that's a great opportunity for everyone involved.
Yeah.
All right, so Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. We
Thanks
really
for
do
having
appreciate it. And thank all of you for watching at home. This is going to conclude our coverage here from the PhD Speed Gaming event in Chicago. We hope to have much more stuff coming to you in the pipeline in the future, but for now, signing off for the day, I'm Matt. Take care, everyone.